see you got a new goldfish.
What do you mean new?
Isn't this dead one the old one?
Trey killed Googles. And then he asked us to lie about it.
Why would you do that?
Grace, Trey didn't
Because I was ashamed.
Trey.
Let him speak. Your mom was stuck in a meeting, and your dad and brother weren't here, and I was tasked to watch the goldfish, and I failed miserably. I am so sorry.
Trey, who killed Google's, mom or dad?
Extended Family is a great show starring John Cryer, Donald Faison, and Abigail Spencer. And one of the things I think that's awesome about it is that it is a show about a divorced couple that is trying to have a thriving divorce. In other words, they have 2 kids, their marriage has come to an end, but they don't want to fall into stereotypical animosity that creates issues for the family where they don't get along. Of course, having that goal doesn't necessarily mean that they are successful at that. And so I think probably every American family has someone in it that they know as a friend or a family member, an extended family member that has been through a divorce and is trying to navigate that terrain as gracefully as possible. And it gets difficult sometimes. And that's why we think it's a great setting for a new sitcom. I think that the reason that people get divorced is because they don't get along. If you think about it, they went through the trouble of falling in love, getting married, building a family, and then the disconnect between the couple is so profound that they decide we're better off not in one another's everyday life. And the issue becomes when you have children and you're trying to share the parenting of those children, your ex-spouse is going to see the other person that you're dating, that you're involved with, that you've fallen in love with, that has replaced who you were essentially. And what are the complications in trying to do that and trying to deal with that? One of the premises of this show is that we're the main couple, Jim and Julia, John Cryer and Abigail Spencer, is that they're going to keep the house where they grew up and where the kids grew up. And they're going to they're going to be the ones that come and go. I think that John is just really, really funny. He's really, really a relatable guy. And his acting and his timing is literally second to none. This is the first time we've worked together, and I just love writing for him because he's just so terrific and just such a good dude. And you can give him anything, and it makes it sound great. And then Abigail Spencer is just so winning. You know, she's again, this is the first, I think, sitcom that she's done, but you can see in the chemistry that they have together why both, you know, she was a woman that Donald Faison's character has fallen head over heels with and would put up with a nonsensical ex-husband each week. But Abby is just, again, really warm, funny, relatable, charming, great mom. And you can see how, you know, people be fighting over her.
Well, interestingly, it was less about my character than about the dynamic between George and Amelia, mostly because they still give each other enormous amounts of grief. That was clearly a part of what they liked about each other. And you know, and in sort of dissecting, okay, what does that mean about them? Why do they, you know, love that back and forth so much? You know, and so when I started actually reading actors to play opposite me that Abigail and I had that immediately as well, was what really clued me into, okay, this is the chemistry that's really going to work. It's hard not to be intimidated by the guy who has achieved so much in his life, and part of why Jim and Julia are together are because they're very comfortable with each other's flaws. And when you meet somebody like Trey, Donald's character, you're it sort of shines everything in bold relief of your flaws stand out all the better, which is exactly what you want in somebody marrying your ex-wife. So, he's coming from a very earnest place of parenting. Your daughter is very smart, and you should never try to manipulate her or do anything other than tell her the truth. And that is a wildly naive position to take for pretty much any actual parent. It's all about controlling the information flow. Someday he'll learn that. The nice thing about the younger characters on the show, the kids playing my kids on the show, is they're really having fun with it. They're allowed to be complicated people. They're allowed to make mistakes. This isn't about a family that does everything right at all. And that's going to be fun for viewers.
So Trey's the owner of the Boston Celtics. And that's a lot of fun to play because, one, I love basketball. Two, I like the Celtics a lot. And three, he's rich. And so there's a lot of things that he gets away with and things that he gets to do in this beloved city of Boston because of his oznership of the Boston Celtics. But he steps into this world where, I don't think Trey wanted to have kids. I don't think Trey wanted all of this. But once he met Julia, he fell in love, and everything that she has going on, he wants to be a part of, even if it means having to deal with her ex-husband and having to deal with her children. I think everything was cool when they first met. I just think as time goes on, it's starting to, the little things that used to not be cool are starting to really dig at Trey. Jim, John Cryer plays Jim, who's Julia, played by Abigail Spencer's ex-husband. And he's Disney dad, kind of, you know what I mean? And Trey is not of that. He's an owner, so he has a schedule, and he's very clear on the things that he likes and wants. And this guy is, seat of his pants kind of a parent, and that's not really Trey's style. And also, being a parent isn't necessarily Trey's style yet, where he's learning how to do all of this as well. He sees her in action. His first time meeting her, he, makes a mistake and says something that he shouldn't have, and she steps in as a crisis manager and saves his butt, and he can't help but be in awe of, her skill, her command, her beauty, her charm. And he goes in hard and falls very hard right away for Julia. And, it's almost like, you play house with strangers early on in life, you know what I mean? When you're dating and stuff, he really stepped into playing house, but it turned into his life, and he loves it. He loves his stepchildren. He loves his wife. He loves his, I guess in real life, Wick. George would be Wick's brother. I don't know what they would call each other, but it's real love there, and that's Trey also.
Really sweet, and I would say the writing is very elevated, and also it's very accessible. You know what I mean? Like and that's what I wanted to do. I'm a mom, and I wanted to make something that I felt like my son would watch, families would watch, my friends would watch, and also see people not doing it perfectly, but doing it well, and know that there's another way to do it. Like, oh, what if there was another way to do that, and kind of take not to downplay divorce, you know what I mean? But like that there is, a lot of people are doing it, and there might be another way to do it. They really are great friends, and they really are trying to make a family, and they laugh and they joke and they kid, and so it's been such a beautiful display, and we've really tried to carry that into the show. And specifically for Amelia, I mean, she is a super successful, super wonderful, very intelligent, very beautiful woman with a great personality. And so what a joy to embody someone that I think, is really out there. I think that women hopefully will really see when trying to, navigate having an ex, a new relationship, kids, running a business, running a home, really, and trying to do it well, and stumbling and falling and apologizing, and trying to take the next right step. Well, I think it's exes and new people. I think it's built in comedy to me. I mean, the situation breeds comedy, but we're gonna tackle like sharing space. What happens when Trey wants to Trey needs to stay at the apartment more with the kids, and the dance between Jim and Julia, how they navigate that, custody time if I have to go off and work, like really everyday things. And then also even just how do you handle money or dating, making decisions together that are best for the kids, and also honor what Jim needs, what Julia needs, Trey. There's some really funny situational things around sleeping arrangements. And also like, I think for Julia, she's dancing between the two men that she loves in very different ways. And so how to allow the process and not control everything that happens is going to be a lot of her journey.